On October 26, 2018, Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas Jr. were found dead in a Jeep in an area near the Everglades in Florida. What is YNW Melly's role in this murder? And in a shocking turn of events, Tara Bonds, the defense lawyer for YNW Melly, was caught with a notebook that contained disturbing and occult-related content. Aren't you excited to know more about this? YNW Melly and his lawyers have been in court for days, trying to figure out a way to get him out of the death penalty. The prosecution is giving all they have to make sure that the death penalty sticks. Melly is accused of killing his two friends, Anthony Williams and Christopher Juvie Phillips, in 2018. The prosecution claims that Melly shot and killed his friends, then staged the scene to look like a drive-by shooting. Melly's lawyers have argued that he's innocent and that the prosecution's case is based on circumstantial evidence. The trial is still ongoing and it's unclear what the outcome will be. However, it is clear that Melly and his lawyers are fighting for his life. YNW Melly's lawyer Tara Bonds was seen holding a notebook with the title "Evil Plans and Stuff" during the trial. This has led to some criticism of Bonds, with people saying that it was unprofessional and could damage Melly's case. However, Bonds defended herself, saying that the notebook was actually a self-help book about how to be more successful. She also said that she was using the notebook to shield her conversation with Melly from unwanted observers. Regardless of the intention, the incident has certainly not helped Melly's case. It has given the prosecution more ammunition to argue that Melly is a dangerous person who is capable of evil. Why did his lawyer do this? Was that a tactic? Let's see. As soon as the notebook appeared, people on Twitter rushed to post their opinions and see what others were saying. Reactions were mixed, with some people finding it funny and others finding it unprofessional. One user joked that the notebook gave off Dr. Evil energy, while another said it was like your defense attorney is the ops. Some people also expressed concern that the notebook could be seen as a sign of Melly's defense team not taking the case seriously. The incident drew attention to the fact that Melly's defense team is made up of two women, Tara Bonds and Natalie Jackson. This is unusual in the world of hip-hop, where many high-profile cases are handled by all-male teams. The notebook incident is a reminder that even the smallest details can be picked up on by the media and the public. Some people were amused by the mistake, while others were more critical. Some people suggested that the lawyer has missed a payment on the notebook, while others thought she had simply overlooked it. It's also a reminder that the stakes were high in Melly's case, and that any misstep could have serious consequences. It has been 4 long years since YNW Melly was arrested and charged with the murders of these two men. During that time, Melly has had to deal with the challenges of being in prison, including the threat of violence from other inmates and the stress of a lengthy trial. He's also had to deal with the emotional toll of being away from his family, friends, and fans. In early 2022, a judge ruled that the death penalty could not be applied to Melly's case because the prosecutors had not properly notified him and his legal team. However, Melly is still facing life in prison and the trial is still ongoing. The chances of Melly getting the death sentence are difficult to say. There are a number of factors that will play into the decision of the jury, including the strength of the evidence against him, the severity of the crime, and his personal circumstances. Some experts believe that Melly's chances of getting the death penalty are high. They point to the fact that he's facing 2 counts of first-degree murder, which is a capital offense in Florida. They also argue that the evidence against him is strong and that he has a history of violence. Some experts believe that Melly's chances of getting the death sentence are lower. They point to the fact that he's a young man with no prior criminal record. They also argue that the prosecution's case is not as strong as it could be and that there are some inconsistencies in the evidence. What do you think? The prosecution believes that Melly and his co-defendant Portland Henry killed the victims in a cold and calculated manner, and that they staged the scene to look like a drive-by shooting. The prosecution filed a notice of intent to seek the death penalty in 2019, and the judges ruled that the state has met its statutory obligations. This means that Melly could face a death penalty if he is convicted of the murders. Melly's lawyers have tried to remove the death penalty from his case, but the judge has denied their request. The case is still ongoing and it's unclear what the outcome will be. The chances of YNW Melly getting out of prison are becoming increasingly slim. Before he surrendered himself to the police, he wrote on Instagram, "I'm turning myself in today. I want you guys to know I love you and I appreciate every single one of y'all. A couple of months ago, I lost my 2 brothers to violence, and now the system wants to find justice. Unfortunately, a lot of rumors and lies are being said, but no worries. God is with me and my brother YNW Portland." The state of Florida believes that YNW Melly killed his friends Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas Jr. for financial gain. The state also believes that the murders were especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel. They point to the fact that the victims were shot multiple times, and that one of the victims was shot in the head at close range. The state also alleges that Melly is a member of the YNW gang. They say that Melly's motive for the murders was to eliminate the victims as potential rivals in the gang. And this case is going through a lot. Brownwood Circuit Judge John Murphy ruled that Brownwood Sheriff's Office Detective Danny Polo could testify with his face covered during the murder trial of YNW Melly. Polo has received death threats from people unrelated to the case, and the judge ruled that his safety was more important than the jury's ability to see his face. Defense attorney Jason Roger Williams argued that jurors need to be able to see Polo's face in order to assess his credibility. He said that the jury would be able to tell if Polo was lying by looking at his facial expressions and body language. However, the judge ruled that Polo's safety was more important than the jury's ability to see his face. Now, let's look closely into this murder. The investigation into the murders led to the arrest of Jamel Demons, also known as YNW Melly, and Portland Henry, also known as YNW Portland. Demons and Henry were friends of Williams and Thomas, and they had been riding in a Jeep together after a recording session in Fort Lauderdale when the murders occurred. Prosecutors alleged that Demons shot and killed Williams and Thomas, and that Henry was an accomplice. They say that Demons shot Williams and Henry in the back of the head, and that Henry then drove the bodies to an area near the Everglades. Once there, they shot at the back and passenger sides of the Jeep from outside to make it look like Williams and Thomas were the victims of a drive-by shooting. There were numerous factors leading to the fingers pointing at Melly. The physical evidence at the scene of the crime, which includes shell casings and DNA evidence, and the testimonies of witnesses who saw Demons and Henry with Williams and Thomas on the night of the murders. On Wednesday, the trial of YNW Melly took a significant turn when prosecutors and defense lawyers argued over whether a cell phone that appeared to be in Demons' possession at one point on the day of the killings actually belonged to Demons. Witnesses testified that the phone was in the Jeep where the victims were killed, but defense lawyers say the state hasn't proved Demons held the phone while the crime was being committed. The cell phone is a key piece of evidence in the case of Demons. If the state can prove that Demons was in possession of the phone at the time of the murders, it could be a major blow to his defense. The phone could contain evidence of Demons' involvement in the murders, such as text messages, phone calls, or photos. The defense, however, is arguing that the state has not proven that Demons was the owner of the phone. They say that the phone could have belonged to anyone, and that there is no evidence that Demons was using the phone at the time of the murders. The argument over the cell phone is likely to be a major focus point of the trial in the coming weeks. If the state can prove that Demons was in possession of the phone at the time of the murders, it could be a major blow to his defense. However, if the defense can successfully cast doubt on the state's case, it could help clear Demons' name. Let us see what is going to be the final verdict. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and also comment your views down below. See you next time, goodbye.